Hey guys, welcome back. You know the drill. It's the 1st of November when I'm filming this, which is one day from my 21st birthday and almost the end of 2024, which is crazy because this year has probably taken several years of my life. It has been insane, but that's okay because we're here and we care about each other, we check in on each other. And before I went off on this tangent, you just told me that you finally put your goals into words. You have your little SMART goal thing going on, and I think they're great. You are amazing, you are capable, you are brilliant, and you are so going to make them happen. And I think, in my opinion, the reason that we've struggled to achieve our goals in the past is because we haven't accounted for the unknown, which sounds really counterintuitive, because how are you supposed to account for something you don't know? But that's just it. We haven't accounted for the lack of control we're going to have in certain aspects of our life when we're trying to achieve these goals, which means anytime things get overwhelming, anytime things don't go according to plan, we lose track of our goals. We lose track of where it is that we're going, leading up to a point where we're like, oh, new year, new me, I'm just going to completely put aside my goals and have a fresh start. How often has that actually worked for you? Because it doesn't matter whether you have a fresh start or like a stale start. It doesn't matter whether you have a fresh start or not. If the foundations for you setting the goals and going about trying to achieve them are flawed, it's just not going to work. And that's where mindful prioritization comes into play. Basically, the idea behind it is to make it as easy as possible for things to fall into place. It's to make yourself as adaptable as possible but while also having a structured plan and a structured set of things that you can do in order to achieve your goal. I imagine it like a jigsaw puzzle, but I'm terrible at jigsaw puzzles, and this is how I imagine they'd work in a different dimension. Mindful prioritization works when you use it to set your goals and like go about achieving them. So you have a jigsaw puzzle and you complete 4 sides of it, like your little sections in all 4 corners and a section in the middle. And then if you just shake the board, everything else can fall into place because you have the most open-ended bits. You have the most ability to be flexible and adaptable. That's exactly what it is that we're doing. We're taking the goal that we have, breaking it down into 4 or 5 most meaningful pieces to us, and then letting things fall into place. If that made absolutely no sense, it's fine. I'm going to talk you through an actual example, and you can skip to the end if you want to, because I'm going to have a summary of all the steps you can take to implement mindful prioritization in your life. But I think you should stay for the ride, because I think you should stay through the entire example because it's going to be fun and there's going to be that fairy. So much stuff can happen and clutter up your life, meaning that you detract from your goals, you detract from the vision, and little by little you don't even realize, but you've gone further and further away from what it is that you were trying to consistently do. Okay, so quick notice before I inevitably go to my little fairy cutscene thing. I hope that this is adding as much value to your life as it is to mine, because I am enjoying this so much. I love creating content for YouTube. I love speaking about the things that I do because in the end it helps me do them better too. When you're trying to use mindful prioritization to break down your goals so that you're more likely to achieve them, there are 3 things that come up in every single goal breakdown, at least in my opinion. First one is a mental health aspect. The second one is your why, and the third one is going to be something else that you're balancing. So I'm going to go through them one by one. First of all, your mental health aspect. For example, say you want to have really good grades, like say you want an A star, you want a first. Your mental health is going to play a role in that. Whether you're already struggling with mental health issues or whether we're just trying to account for changes, that is going to play a role on how you go about trying to achieve your goal. So that has to be a section that we do. The second one is going to be your why. This is arguably the most important section because why you want to achieve something is what gives you intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is the reason you're going to stay trying to achieve this goal, is the reason you're going to stay consistent, going to stay on track. If you don't know why you're doing something, why would you do it? It doesn't make any sense to spend time and effort trying to do something for no reason, right? So the why is super important. And the third one is something else that you're balancing. This one sounds kind of vague, but hear me out. It's really rare in life, especially as a student, that you have the opportunity to give all your time and all your effort to just one thing. Say you want your first, you want your A star, you want your amazing grades. You're also going to be balancing other things such as applications or a job, basically any other past commitment that you already have, like going to the gym. So we have to make space for that in the goal. So in this puzzle board now, we've got why we're doing something, we've got mental health section, and we've got a section for any other commitments you already have. The remaining two sections, or even the remaining one section, are for things specific to that goal. For example, if you want to get a first or you want to get an A star, the other two things, one of the sections I would have would be time management. When do you work best? How are you best going to manage your time to give you every chance possible to, first of all, be adaptable enough that if something changes, you're still able to have that time, and two, achieve the goal. And the other section would be learning how to do it, learning how to revise, learning how to answer exam questions. That entire learning curve, that entire learning process is also a massive part of achieving the goal, of course. This part, these two are the most obvious things. These two are the things that most people plan for. When you're making your SMART goals, or when you're making goals in general, coming up with to-do lists and stuff, and steps to achieve it, you're going to be doing steps in terms of time management and in terms of like the content, the actual substance of what it is that you're doing. It's rare that we integrate the other three factors as much. But that's where mindful prioritization comes in. So if we look at mindful prioritization in the context of what we've just done, we've got a jigsaw puzzle. We've got two obvious parts of the goal, and then we've got three not so obvious parts of the goal. Choosing to prioritize these 5 things, and these 5 things only with regard to your goal, means that you are super adaptable. You can adapt to any changes. You have a lot of control over what you're doing, and there's a holistic aspect to this goal. This goal isn't separate from your real life because you're considering your mental health, you're considering intrinsic motivation, you're considering other commitments that you have. It's a holistic part of your life, which makes it really easy to assimilate, and you can just get on with it and everything else as well. Nothing stops in order for you to have to do this. This is, can't lie, mindful prioritization, I feel like, well, maybe it's just me and I've just thought about it for too long, but when you think about it, it gets more and more complicated. But at the end of the day, all it is that any goal that you have, you break it down into more than just its most obvious and basic components. Like, for example, if you're talking about getting good grades, you break it down into more than just learning the content, learning how to revise an exam technique. You break it down into the role your mental health is going to play into it, any other priorities you also have, and your intrinsic motivation for wanting to achieve that specific goal. And then the prioritization part comes in because you choose to prioritize all 5 of those components equally, not just the 2 that are the most obvious.